Hey, good morning, good lunchtime, good evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. And we are all over the world today with a bunch of special guests. And, another day, another dollar, another change of scene and look and feel for the vertical show, and completely different from what we've previously had. But to start with, I just thought I might try a little bit of green screen and moving about and perhaps bringing my guests on in the background there with a little bit of a magic move. And we have in fact got Alec and Fuljens in the background. We'll be introducing them in a minute or two, but I can bring them on from behind that little scene there, or hide them away and make myself a bit bigger, or potentially just move myself around the screen or disappear totally and then reappear as myself and my evil twin doing a product launch. So if I face that, I can lose my hand off the edge of the green screen here, so don't want to be doing that. But without further ado, and that's just me testing to see how big I'm going to look at on the phone and how clear I'm going to look on the phone, I'm going to hand over to my co-host Neil, who's going to take you through what we're actually doing and how we're doing it here. And in the same time, that gives me 1 minute to change my microphone and go and sit down and change my camera and things like that. So Neil, if you're ready, it's over to you now.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm going to do this in 20 seconds. That'll really mess you up. So what we're doing is we are actually creating a show here in Ecamm Live, and we're doing it in the 9:16 vertical format is what we're doing right now. And we're actually on a Zoom call. So Alec, Fuljens, Martin are all on a Zoom call at the moment, and the guests have come in via Zoom. So we've added all those guests, as you can see, in a moment. And then Martin will have the task of assigning all these Zoom participants to camera placeholders within the Ecamm for Zoom production, of which we've got the three of us today, including Martin. And then after that, we're pushing all this out via Restream. So we're using Restream to multi-stream this channel to various sources, and it's going to my YouTube channel, my LinkedIn, Martin's LinkedIn channel, and Martin's YouTube as well. And we're doing that via the Restream pairing. So that's what we're up to at the moment, and that's how we're pushing all our sources out there. And yeah, over to you then, Martin. And I can hear a little bit of echo in the background, so there's some slight background going on. Somebody can mute their self. Somebody may have the speaker on.
That'll be Henrik, I think, just needs to mute.
Yeah, Henrik, could you mute your...
Or the host can mute.
There you go. There you go. All right. It's very weird hearing myself. But hello, everyone.
Hello.
So yeah, it is a good morning, good evening, good lunchtime, etc. today. So I know that for Fuljens it's 8 in the morning. Myself and Neil are having lunch in Portugal and Edinburgh at about 1 o'clock. And Alec's having his dinner, or has just finished it, at 8 o'clock in the evening. So we are all over the place, and we've got loads of people joining us. So I'll have to flick through my list of people joining us, because we see whether they're. I always wonder whether things are going to appear in the right place for those placeholders. But thanks, Eden, for joining us. It looks like Saeed's joining us as well. So you're totally ruining.
Yeah.
You're ruining his life, actually, at the moment. So,
well, we really appreciate you joining. That's great. Even if we are being a little bit ubiquitous at the moment, we're trying to push our live streams out all the time. But there you go.
So I clearly need to get rid of my microphone angles on the green screen version of things. It was driving me a bit mad as well. But I had rather than use lavalier microphones, I've got a little Shure MV88 microphone. I thought I'll give that a go as well. So that was interesting to try that out anyway. So thanks for joining us both on this slightly mad vertical show. We've got a bunch of questions for you to go through, and this is the bit where it's very easy for me, because what we do is we just switch to the view which has got the question. I read out the question and then everyone else has to answer it. So given that we have the whole, I guess, world of shorts and things like that, if we're live streaming to LinkedIn, how long should a stream be? And bear in mind, we're going to be going on for anything from 45 minutes to an hour and repurposing the content. So thoughts, please, Alec.
I would say the ideal length is 45 minutes to an hour. Yeah, of course. I guess it depends on what you're talking about. You know, I don't have a fixed thing for my live streams. It just depends on what the topic is. So like today's was just about an hour actually, but then I've done some where it's like a deep dive into something or other that might have gone on for, you know, like a couple of hours, like a huge roadcast. Or in fact, when the Roadcaster Duo was released, I did a 2-hour stream about that. So I guess it just depends on how long it takes to cover the content, really, if you're doing educational type stuff.
And I will also add that in addition to the content, it also depends on the content creator, because you can probably go live as long as you want. I agree with the idea that it can be anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour. And sometimes, like my streams can go a little past an hour, maybe an hour and 20 minutes. But I know other creators who can go upwards to 3 hours, and I'll watch the entire thing. So again, I know somebody said that your vibe will attract your tribe, and that's what it is, because there is a market for that. There's an audience for longer versions of streams, and because they're vibing with you, they're here for you.
Yeah, I think I agree with everybody that's been said at the moment. 45 minutes to an hour is great. But obviously, if you are broadcasting a gaming session or something like that, they could go on for hours, and especially things like interview shows. So I've been on a show that I've hosted where just time gets away with you. You know, you have different people coming in at different times throughout that show, and it ended up being a 3.5-hour show, and I didn't even realize my intention was at the time to be like around 45 minutes to an hour, and lo and behold, 3 hours have gone by, and so on. So I do think it does depend on the content, but I think the more content that you have, if you are live streaming and you've got this content available to you and recorded, then it's a great opportunity then to slice and dice that, and you can make up sort of multiple shorter versions of the video, hopefully if the content's decent, that you can put out there and repurpose in other places. But as a rule, 45 minutes to an hour is great.
And I think you did a whole load at Creator Camp last year, didn't you? How long do you think you were streaming for at Creator Camp?
Oh, I think it depends. I think we for CCTV back at the time when we did that, I think the intention was to have it over the respective breaks. Each break was around an hour, but I think in the evening we sent Lisa out with a microphone with a radio mic and went round the entire audience there. So that went on for a couple of hours, I think, and then people kept coming in, wanting to be on camera. We were chatting to them and things. So yeah, I think that was a couple of hours for one of those shows, and people were still watching it and things like that. And I think with longer shows, people can sort of dip in and out, right? If they know the sort of the format and sort of the run of show, if they're looking at a particular guest or want to sort of join somebody later on, then maybe an hour later they could sort of pop back and see that we're still streaming and catch your favorite guest. But we try to be quick now and get everybody in 45 minutes.
So question for everyone. Have you ever gone live for longer than you thought you'd gone live because you hadn't actually stopped, hit the quit button, and you're still live, or accidentally gone live?
I guess I'll answer that question. Well, I intentionally, I didn't intention to go live, as I mentioned, for that period of time, but I hadn't done it whereby I'd forgotten to press the button, so I wasn't having my dinner or working away, and it was still live streaming. I haven't done that yet, touch wood. So I've always remembered to press the stop button after the live. So no, that's not happened to me.
I'll tell you what
I
has
haven't done that
happened
in a
to me.
live stream, but I did forget to end the recording once. I was in the middle of a recording, and then my son or someone came to the door, and I went to go and go to the door, and then we got distracted, and then I didn't come back till the following morning, and then it just said that it was still running, and I'd got this huge file.
Wow! At least you didn't run out of disk space. That's
Well, yeah, it's amazing that I didn't actually. So I was like, quit, delete.
Wow.
And I think it was early last year, Anna and I were hosting ENN, and we had Mary Lou join. And at the very end, when we're saying goodbye, we're pulling up the comments and everything. Mary Lou, I don't know, I think she had something on her head, or she had a wig. She snatched it off, and everybody was like, ah! And we ended, we ended the stream like that. But then once we ended the stream kept going. It cuts back to our scene, and we were just, and our energy was high after what Mary Lou did, and we were just all talking about it. And then we noticed that the chats were still going on. We're like, and people were like, you're still live. So luckily we didn't say anything too crazy, but
Pretty cool. We've no great reveals like that today. Don't worry. We won't be taking
nothing quite that
wigs
bad.
up or anything. No.
right. We don't have any wigs today.
No.
I could take my hat off. You don't know what's under there.
Yeah, we've never seen what's under there, Martin. We don't know. Nobody knows.
I need a haircut. I need a
It's another
haircut.
hat. He takes it off, and there's another hat there.
It's like one of those Russian dolls,
Exactly.
So Val has actually done that, it would appear. One of the worst ones I've done actually was when I was hosting the Ecamm Live talk-through, i.e. or sort of walk-through Friday session. Paul had just sort of sent me the link and said, right, you're on the admin group now. And so I'm sitting there looking at this, and there's 40 different streams scheduled. And I never have 40 different streams scheduled in advance. And then at one point I was playing about an Ecamm, and I thought, oh God, have I just cancelled Katie's show or taken over Katie's show? And apparently if I'd pressed the wrong button, I would have taken over Katie's live show, and I would have been suddenly unaware, but on camera live streaming on the Ecamm channel. So
Didn't Doc do that with ENN once? I think. Didn't he go?
Yes.
He pressed the button, and then suddenly ENN was interrupted to bring you this important news flash from Hawaii.
Yes. Doc
And he didn't realize it.
click resume broadcast, and then we were freaking out because we thought that it was our YouTube feed that just cut to Doc. We didn't know that it was actually happening in Ecamm.
Oh my! It's like somebody's just taken over. Oh my!
Yeah.
That's really funny.
well, that brings a nice segue to this question then. Where should you stream to? Now, what I mean by that is we're currently streaming obviously to LinkedIn and to YouTube, and there are reasons for that, for going to two different places. But also this week we've had a look at the difference between streaming live to LinkedIn personal pages and streaming to LinkedIn live company pages. And there's quite a lot of differences to note. The first one is that you get the ability to get people to fill in a registration form on the LinkedIn company page, which means you can then get them to sign up for newsletters and future communications and things like that, which you don't get if you're streaming just to the personal page. Also, what we've found is that when you have finished your recordings on a existing personal page, if people go to you and then try and find that recording again, they have to scroll all over the place, and the recordings are not necessarily in the right order, and it's all a bit of a mess. But on the company page, there's a videos tab, and it will show latest videos, up and coming videos, all historical events as videos. So much more of a sort of YouTube-like experience in terms of going and looking for something. So I only ever go live to LinkedIn or to YouTube, but should we be going live in this vertical format to other places?
I would say in vertical format to the vertical platforms for sure. Yeah, I mean, my obviously primary channel is YouTube. I'm not personally going to be doing vertical streaming on YouTube just because it lives in the main feed. So it means that people are watching on TVs, and I've had this before. I've come across a video and it's like a vertical strip down the middle of the TV, and I basically skip over it if it's in that format because it's not the correct one. So I'm still going to focus on the regular aspect ratio for YouTube, but for LinkedIn, obviously most people are in vertical format. I don't really look at LinkedIn too much actually on my desktop. That's where I take a quick look at it, but it is something that I'm more likely to just browse like with a coffee over my on my mobile. But with the vertical formats, I intend to do more of that on Reels and also TikTok as well. I have become a bit of a fan of TikTok, having dismissed it as not something for me early on, but I've just found the algorithm is so tuned to giving me what I'm looking for. And I've found some amazing people through that, like Rory Sutherland, for example, the chairman of Ogilvy Advertising, and I found him through through TikTok. Binge watched a load of like little clips of him speaking, and then went out and bought all of his books. So people do make that transition from short form content to that, and the same as watching live streams on that as well is something that I have done as well. So yeah. Keeping the format to the format of the platform, I think is what I'm going to be aiming to do more of.
I totally agree with Alec, and also going to the different platforms, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, LinkedIn vertical will help you get an understanding of what type of content is there and what you see that's resonating with you on each platform. For example, there's stuff that's happening live on TikTok that I see only happening live on TikTok. I wouldn't see that on YouTube shorts live, for example, on LinkedIn, right? And then whatever resonates with you the most. Think of it as you're shopping around for like a new office space, or you're shopping around for a new studio. Like which place resonates with you best, and probably lease one for a month or two, and just test out the different waters and see what you prefer, because each platform has different features and whatnot. It's not just vertical video, so definitely shop around.
Yeah.
I think to your point is spot on. It all depends on the audience as well. So I think different people consume the material on these platforms differently. So maybe if you go into TikTok, you're looking for a particular type of video. I mean, cat videos for me, obviously, but things like that. People maybe just be going to TikTok looking for a particular thing, but obviously there's the shopping now on TikTok. There's all kinds of things that you can do to Fuljens' point. I think to your point, Alec, around having this vertical format on YouTube, we're going to be appearing in the YouTube Shorts feed now as we're doing this, and as we know, that's a little bit like the Wild West. You never know who's going to pop up on there or what's going to happen. But I think because we're in the vertical format, it's a lot easier to repurpose what we're doing right now and then pushing it out to the likes of Instagram and other places. And Instagram's another platform. It's a little bit trickier, as we know. There's a few hoops to get through to actually go live on Instagram. There's a lot of people do that. But I've been looking at Substack as well, where I've got my newsletter now and things, and Substack are really pushing and doubling down on video content. They've just introduced the fact that you can go live now from your phone via Substack, and they're going to be, I think, pushing out the RTMP keys to be able to do that via a browser or a third-party encoder like OBS or Ecamm in the future. So I think, to your point, find the right platform that where your audience is, and there's nothing wrong with, as you said, just try and push out those videos to start with for the first 3 months. Do a test, see what type of response you get, see if you can grow your audience that way. Let's not forget there's Rumble as well, there's Kick, which is, you know, primarily for gamers. There's so many platforms that you can stream to. And as you can see in the comments, there's also MySpace. So let's not forget about that.
I always thought actually that in terms of LinkedIn in particular, this would be a great platform in vertical for people like recruiters, because LinkedIn is such a recruitment platform. If you were going live every week and talking about the location of a job and the specification of the job and who you were looking for as a recruiter for that role, I think that would be a great way to consume stuff on LinkedIn. If you're looking for a job, then why aren't more recruiters popping up in vertical and telling you all about the jobs and having a little video of the city they're in, and, you know, maybe a walk around of the office? And similar for real estate as well, exactly the same thing. There's plenty of room on this format to do a little video walk around an office or a property of any sort, plus swap around the position of the video and then the person's face, and, you know, just move things around. I think there's a lot of potential for those particular formats.
Saeed says, so recruiters can now ghost you in vertical format.
They were probably doing that anyway. So how do you repurpose content? And I know this is a good one for Alec, because I've seen him doing it a lot recently. And I know it's a good one for Neil, and I know it's a good one for Fuljens. And I know I don't bother doing it because I just reach out to somebody else to do it for me. Alec.
So I don't really repurpose content because I figure it takes me as long to sort of go through and actually find the bit and, you know, clip it out and do whatever needs to be done with it, as to just actually record it. The beauty of Ecamm having vertical format is that you can just sit down and record something. So I'd rather go back and like look at those points, and also the repurposing software like the AI tools. I certainly haven't got the time to go through and manually do it to like look at, you know, which bits I want to take out. But there's some of the AI tools, I've never really liked those. I always feel that they don't quite yet do a great job of just picking out like a really good thing and editing it together. It always has that sense of I've almost been dropped into a conversation and then doesn't necessarily resolve. Whereas if you actually are more intentional about what you're planning to create as a bit of short form content, then to be able to just go in and have like a very clear beginning, middle and end, and, you know, maybe even a hook at the beginning and some bit of content that you're going to deliver, then for me it's easier to just record that. One of the great recommendations I had for there's one of the big repurposing tools, I forget what it's called now, one of the AI repurposing tools though, where it was actually Stephanie Garcia mentioned this, which was one of the great ways to use it is actually put other popular content, not necessarily your own videos in it, but put other popular content in it, because one thing it does is it goes to find the things that it thinks are going to make the best pieces of content to repurpose. But then rather than repurposing other people's content, it's basically just finding the good parts out of, you know, another piece of content that you can then go and make your own, like, just recorded piece about. So that was a really interesting way of doing it. But I'd be more inclined as well to just do that with my own stuff and find like the part that I want to make and then just record it again.
Which apparently is exactly what Valerie's telling you to do.
Yeah, that's it.
Don't bother repurposing. Just
press record, and then a minute later you're kind of done. It's not quite that. I mean, I have to go and put captions and stuff on, but like, I did 30 videos for 30 days of Ecamm in December, and those were just all, you know, one take recordings about Ecamm, and then I did take them into CapCut afterwards to put on captions, and once they were in CapCut, I dropped on like a standard outro to all of them and trimmed out a little bit where they were slightly over like a minute long, but essentially, yeah, still the one take in Ecamm is all the way for me.
Fuljens, you've done a lot of different shapes and sizes and all sorts of things. So what tools do you use, and which ones do you like, and which ones don't you like?
Yeah, definitely. So me, the same thing. I barely repurpose like content, especially when it comes to all like the horizontal content for ENN and building blocks. The only times it would probably repurpose if there's like a specific guest who is giving like an Ecamm testimonial. How did they come across Ecamm? Every now and then we'll repurpose that, but not into vertical video per se. But for certain projects that I do have to repurpose content and create vertical video, I don't like the AI. I'm not too used to the AI features and stuff like that, AI tools. I go straight to CapCut. I have the CapCut Pro plan. That is my go-to for day-to-day editing, especially verticals. I can easily format into vertical format, and I have the captions there. I can animate the captions, add my transitions, and I'm in and out. So I love CapCut as my go-to without having to rely on those automated AI tools.
So I think what we're talking about for the AI tools, a few people have mentioned it already in the chat, is Opus
That's
Clip.
the one.
So I started with Opus Clip, and I've got a few clients that want me to help them repurpose some of their content. So namely, it'll be interviews, podcast type interviews where you've got a side by side and things like that. And I would say, 60% of the time, to Alex's point, it does sort of work, but it is like dropping you into the middle of a conversation where you think, well, hang on, what was the context of that? Like, so then you have to fiddle around a little bit and get that to work. And there are some decent editing workflows within Opus. So I will use Opus really to take some of the content that I've either created or maybe some content for the clients just to see what it will pop out. But I love the idea of it being used as almost like a marketing tool where you can then look at the virability, if that's the right term, that it suggests of particular other people's videos. And my go-to recently, though, for doing vertical clipping and just finding good points has been Descript. Even though I do have a love-hate relationship with Descript. When I first started using it, it was very clunky. Then it suddenly got better. Then it went really downhill off a cliff and got horrible where I couldn't use it and didn't use it for 6 months, even though I was paying for it. And then recently they've made some really interesting updates whereby it's got a lot more reliable. It doesn't crash as much. I use it now in the web UI instead of the application. So the web-based version of Descript is really good. So that's great for the captions. There's templates that you can save. And the fact that I really like editing using text. It's a lot more intuitive for me to find those clips. You can find those little parts that you make notes on and think, oh, that would be an interesting sort of clip to use. And I like the fact that you can edit that. And I just wish Final Cut would just include the text-based editing function instead of having to go to something else. Because DaVinci has it, Adobe Premiere has it, and others. So please, Final Cut, if you're listening, which you won't be, but if you are Apple, just please add this feature. It seems to be a non-brainer. But anyway, for me, Opus, Descript, and if I have to do any serious editing, I'll throw that into Final Cut.
Now, another reason which I thought, and I've not mentioned it because I was waiting to see if anybody else was going to mention it, but in particular with LinkedIn, we have this weird thing where if people are watching this live on their phone at the moment, it will look terrible. But if they watch it in the app on the replay, this will come out full screen and it will look tremendous. And in fact, better, I think, than any other platform because you can just tap a button and all of the nonsense goes off the screen. So all you see on the screen is what we're looking at the moment. There's no blurb. In fact, there's one line at the bottom maybe and a tiny bit at the top, but almost nothing on the screen other than the full vertical content. Now, because of that reason, it tends to mean that your live content isn't looking very good on LinkedIn. It's certainly not on the phone. It looks fine on a big screen, but similar to Alec mentioning earlier, you do have to have a really big screen for it to look good in landscape format. But on the phone, it looks great. So in terms of repurposing content, my thoughts are I should be able to get Neil to repurpose some of the live clips in order to repost it on LinkedIn and direct people at the replay of the full content, if that makes sense. So by recording the content and then clipping it and then reposting it to LinkedIn, the idea is that we go around in a full circle and people actually come back to the phone version of the full content, which looks really, really good on the phone. So just going to click up a couple of things here.
So you mentioned, Saeed, that you realised LinkedIn changed how vertical formats are shown. All right, some slight adjustments. I don't know whether that's a very, very, very recent thing, but I'll take a look to see if there's anything changed
I think
recently. Because I remember.
think there's
Go on,
a
sorry.
very slight adjustment at the top and the bottom of the
Okay.
screen, but yeah, very slight indeed. And thank you, Brian, for joining us all the way over from Canada and looking in vertical format, and says it's looking good. So thanks, Brian, for joining us. Now,
So Brian's on
at
LinkedIn.
this point,
On the vertical, it looks fine. That's interesting. I'll have to see what is. Are you just interested, Brian? Are you looking at this on the phone, or are you looking at it on the sort of browser, just the normal thing? I'd just be interested, because maybe we're not aware that LinkedIn's now made everything look good on vertical live.
Well,
And this would be
we
a
do
first,
think-
but I don't know.
well, we do think that is going to happen at some point.
Right,
They're
at some
definitely
point.
pushing the vertical side of things dramatically.
Right.
So at some point, being as they already have the capability to regurgitate the video content and send it out again in full screen, you would assume that at some point we will be able to go live, and in particular maybe even to a company page. Maybe
Right.
LinkedIn like to monetize things. Now they belong to Microsoft, and they already have a number of options that you can pay for on a company page to give you higher visibility and further reach in terms of touch points for your end audience. And if you think about it, they've got a fantastic profile for every individual on LinkedIn. They know all about you and exactly what you're watching and what you are commenting on, and they know your full background profile and where you live and what software you have, and they a massive amount of detail on you. So actually, in terms of profile, for them to be able to reach out to exactly the profiles you're looking for and then piggyback that into vertical format, as I was mentioning real estate earlier on, well, you target people in a certain area which corresponds to whatever real estate you've got, not the whole of LinkedIn. That wouldn't make sense. So yeah, that's all all interesting stuff. Now at this point, in terms of run of show, what I thought I would do is flick through to this scene and reveal a streamer live where we asked the audience a bunch of questions, but we broke it.
It's not working. We broke it. So sorry about that.
So yeah, sorry about that. I didn't know that was going to happen, but we actually broke it. But what was interesting in the intro to that clip as well, because we're starting to mention AI and different tools and vertical tools, the sort of intro flow that I had, we should go back and show you that again. If I go back to the previous scene, and then we can look at that intro coming in. That was actually created using Adobe Firefly, and the latest version of Firefly, it allows you to either create videos from a description or to put in a start point and an end point picture and then move from picture A to picture B following whatever description that you put into the AI tool. So in my case, to create that, what I have done is put in picture A as the go live logo, etc., and then I type into the description, give me a flowing wall moving through to picture B, which is a pure green screen, and that's what it does. So if I come and play about with this for a second and change the settings so that you can see what this looks like normally, that's what it normally looks like. So we normally have the green screen there, and there it's rolling up from one to the other. So let me turn the green screen back on again so I can see people behind the scenes. I've only played about with it very briefly, and it only will give you 5-second clips. There's been some horrendously bad results. So originally I decided I was going to put myself and Neil on one scene and then Alec and Fuljens on another scene, and I just wanted it to transition nicely between the two scenes for an intro video, but instead, what happened was sort of Alec spun round in circles, gained a pair of glasses. Fuljens disappeared into his own jacket inside the screen. My nose grew and Neil's face melted. So
I love it.
AI doesn't have all the answers for that yet, but interesting to know if you've tried out any of those tools. Alec, first of all, have you tried out anything like that?
You know, I don't really use any of the AI graphics things for either still photos or for video at all. Really, I'm just fully 100% ChatGPT. Really, I'm not using many other AI tools apart from that. Except I just talk at length with ChatGPT day in day out, and that's been really powerful. But yeah, but not so much the video editing ones.
And have you tried that yet, Fuljens? I'm sure you're going to try it because you won't be able to stop yourself.
I've tried it once. So going back to the different type of content we see on different platforms, a while back ago on TikTok, there was something going viral where these old memes from the past, like from Vine, they would start the video and then it would just transform and morph into some type of creepy AI type of thing. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. There were tons of them like that at the time. I had to try it out. So I just like found a video of a meme and then I forgot what tool it was, but you put in a prompt and said, at this point, then this person turns into a werewolf or whatever the case might be. It was so cool. I forgot what it was, but that was the only time I did that type of stuff.
Now, of course, somebody's decided outside this is the perfect point in time to do leaf blowing. So,
of course.
Was this on your side, Martin? I was going to ask who was doing the gardening, but there you go.
And it's an industrial strength leaf blower, petrol driven, and the guy. So,
you don't know how happy I am to hear that sound living here in this cold and the snow that we've been having. To hear a lawnmower, that is so nostalgic to me right now. So I heard that, I just my mind just went to spring.
That's really funny.
While we're talking about AI and images, I don't know if you saw this went around just recently, which is it's an artificial finger that you can wear it's got a ring in it. It gives you an extra finger so that you can make your real photos look like they are in fact AI created.
That is fantastic, because AI has this problem, right, with fingers and toes and things.
Yeah.
So you get an extra finger or 3 or something like that. That's fantastic.
An extra earlobe.
They're not
somewhere.
trying to fix AI, they're just trying to fix you. That's great.
Yes,
Love it.
Right, exactly. This is what you should look like.
That's ridiculous.
So I keep muting myself here, guys. But Neil, tell the guys the story about the AI that we recently were looking at with the monkey.
Oh yeah, so there was there's a video going around on YouTube. So it's a lady called Premiere Gal, and she does a lot of tutorials on Adobe Premiere. And she was trying Firefly out for the first time. And one of the videos that she was doing was just putting in a few prompts and testing out how well it did from a video perspective. So it's this 5-second video clip, and she said, video clip of a monkey, and it's eating a banana. And then it just puts the banana down. Very simple prompt and so on. And she tried it a few times. The first couple that came up with was like the monkey decided to come out. It looked a bit weird. The banana was all a weird shape. And then it slapped the banana on its head or something, and it all just sort of morphed and disappeared. It was the weirdest, most bizarre thing. And she tried a couple of iterations, and none of them were very good. Let's put it that way. So it's got a long way to go. But I mean, I use AI for generating some thumbnails and backgrounds and bits and pieces, and I've been probably using Midjourney now for about 6 months to a year, actually, since it's been around. But I've not tried the others. I haven't tried Adobe Firefly. I love video, and I would love to try and create some AI video stuff similar to what's been out there with Sora, but Sora's not available here in Portugal at the moment. And then if you want to use it in anger, you need to get a ChatGPT Pro account, which is like $200 a month. And I don't think many people have got $200 a month to play around with AI video for a while, unless you're that way inclined. So I think it's going to get better, because some of the results that I've seen are amazing. But at the moment it's at a cost, and it seems to be any type of really good AI, there's a price tag associated with it, especially if you want to clone yourself and do videos and things like that. So watch this space. It's evolving so quickly. I think in 6 months to a year, we'll be talking about something different again, no doubt.
I think the interesting thing for me was that they not only had landscape, but they had portrait versions in Firefly. So they're now expecting people to play about in that particular format. And on that same video, I think she had a bear going into an igloo, and she just said, bear comes around, sniffs, goes into igloo. And the bear came around, sniffed, went into the igloo, and then came out backwards. And it was, what's it doing? So they then tried it again with a slightly different prompt, and the bear just came out of the igloo and went off the screen. It's, what's going on? So yeah, I think objects and landscape, definitely not people's faces, definitely not hands. And Neil even managed to create a cat earlier on that had an exceptionally long neck, looking more like a llama than a cat llama, something like that. I'm not sure what it was.
Saeed pointed that out to me, and I'm like, no, there's nothing wrong with this cat. Then I went back and looked at the image and went, oh, that cat's looked like it's wearing a snood from the 1980s, you know, where it's a big elongated, I don't know, it looks a bit weird. Let's put it that way.
That one that you mentioned there, Fuljens.
It was a karma. It was a cat llama. We've invented a new species.
If you go back and watch that video that I sent you, Fuljens, the one that I mentioned where we're all morphing about, just behind you at one point, some sort of little weird, horrible-looking elf appears in the background and then disappears. Yeah. Where did that come from? It literally sort of appears out your shoulder and then disappears. But if you go through that, just freeze frame it, you'll suddenly see.
I'm going to have to watch that again now.
Where did that weird thing appear from? So,
is your computer possessed, Martin?
Yeah, possibly.
I was just going to ask you, do you have any other scenes that you could bring in a fifth guest if Saeed wanted to join us? But I'm putting you on the spot now. Or I could bring Saeed into my production and we could have a side-by-side split. So that would be very awkward and weird, but I could squeeze him into my production from here as well, if you wanted to, of course.
Well, I tell you what we'll do.
Talking with yourselves?
No. We'll do better than we'll do better than that. I'll create a scene in preview, but what we'll do is run through and just let. Wait a minute. We'll just let Alec tell us what he's got coming up soon.
Oh, great.
Shameless plug.
There we go then. What have I got coming up? It's the Digital Stage Summit. It's in 2 weeks on Tuesday, the 18th to the 20th of March. So we were talking earlier about live streams and the longest live streams. Actually, the way that this works is it is a free event to sign up. There is a VIP pass available where you get access to a sort of backstage in Zoom. But actually, the main event, I'm going to stream to an unlisted YouTube channel, and that's going to be 12 hours a day for 3 days. So that will be my longest live streams, and I just hope that I can stay up for it. Stay awake through it all. It is 30 speakers over 3 days, and the themes of the day at the days is that day one is all about the sort of tools and the tech to level up your online sort of video first presence. Then day two's focus more on the sort of on-screen skills, community building, storytelling and things like that. You know, how to actually be on camera, I guess, is the format of that. And then the third day is about how to, you know, take the value that you're delivering through the lens to your audience, whoever that is, your students, or maybe you're using it for sales or whatever. But the third day then is about focusing on just monetizing and growing a business out of it, and not just monetization tools, but also, you know, how to be more productive and how to, maybe leverage outsourcing to get to where you're trying to go faster. So those are the outline of the 3 days for entrepreneurs, content creators looking to just level up their online presence. And as I say, it's free to join. It is the Digital Stage Summit at digitalstagesummit.com.
Fantastic. I was going to ask you, are you bringing your guests in then via Ecamm for Zoom? Is that how you're doing the production, or are they...
Absolutely, yeah. So Ecamm for Zoom running on one computer. I've got Zoom, a separate Zoom session running on another computer for the backstage, and then there's another one that I'm running into the guest computer, or into the sort of main event computer, which is just going to be bringing in timing and stuff like that. So and then it will be, as I say, streamed out to YouTube as well from that main computer. and all the audio routing going through Rodecaster, the Rodecaster Pro 2. I'm actually also doing some stuff with the Rodecaster video as well with this one, because I just want to offload some of the workload from my primary computer. So the all the live presentations will actually go through the Rodecaster video into the main computer. And so normally I say, if you've got Ecamm, you don't need a hardware switcher, because obviously Ecamm does that. Right. But in this case, I am actually using the Rodecaster video for my primary and secondary camera, and then also for the like the presentation feed. So it's just going to offload it off the main computer, because it's going to be a bit busy with other things.
And I can't imagine what's going on. We'd love to. I don't know whether you're considering doing a behind the scenes afterwards and how you put this together, but that would be amazing if you would consider that.
I absolutely am. Yeah. So I'm going to do for the VIP pass. There'll be like a full-on workshop, which will be from start to finish, everything about the event. So how it was set up, the marketing of it, the promotion of it, the platform, the way I'm doing it, rather than using Zoom events, which can be a costly platform to use.
Yes.
Being able to just use a regular Zoom account and a second Zoom account for that backstage thing, and then I'm hosting it all in Kajabi, because that's where all of my other content is. So I want to just make that, like, keep it within that ecosystem. So yeah, there will absolutely be a workshop on that after the fact, and you're all welcome to come to that.
Amazing.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Yes.
So we have Eden on the stream commenting in, and he's going to be a speaker. Who else is speaking, Alex?
We've got loads of people, actually. There's Doc, Luria, Kat. I'm using first names. I'm assuming everyone knows who I'm talking about. Kat Mulvihill.
Yes.
Luria Petrucci. Katie's there as well. Who else?
James
So
Hicks.
many names.
James
Hicks. Yeah. Just lots of amazing people, and I can't quite believe that I sort of put out a call for speakers and was honestly a little bit overwhelmed by the response that I got. I sent out an email, and then it was pretty full up pretty quickly. So I might even extend it out a little bit, as in make it a little bit longer. But I just need to be conscious of being able to keep my eyelids open during the event.
Do you drink coffee? Well, if you don't, then now it's time to
I will be drinking extra. Yes, I will be increasing my dosage for this particular event.
13
Light
espressos
roast.
in a day has never bothered anybody, right? So
Yes,
that's going to be fine. Well, best of luck with that. I'm looking forward to joining some, if not all of that, if I can, because you're saying it's in the US time zone?
Yes,
right?
it's basically, it was going to be 9 till 5, but now it's basically 8 till 7 US Eastern time. So
that's not too bad.
Yeah, it for me though, that's kind of
that's
basically
it's
8 in the morning,
night.
8 in the evening till 7 in the morning.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah.
We won't be seeing you for a while after that summit. Then you'll be,
I'm going to take a long weekend, I think.
Your
after
body
that.
clock will be switching again. So best of luck.
Yes, yeah.
So on
Hello,
my
Saeed.
request, I brought Saeed into the production,
There
and
he
he's
is.
just added that extra bit of colour and pizzazz to what was already a bright-looking production anyway, I think. But thanks for joining us all the way from Dortmund. Tell us, are you going to be doing stuff in vertical? Have you already done stuff in vertical? Do you like it? Don't you like it?
You know, I failed with doing stuff in horizontal, let alone in vertical. So maybe next year. Just small anecdote. Last Friday, I think I thought, why not stepping aside of my comfort zone and go live on LinkedIn? I haven't been live. Usually, I do all my stuff in Zoom, for example, and using all the OBS magic and virtual camera and stuff. Let me try it out and see what will break. And the thing that broke was after I pressed go live, my whole PC shut down, and it took me like 5 minutes to get it back. And after that, the link changed for the whole live stream. My camera settings were all over the place. Everything looked different, but still I had like, I think 45 minutes or 60 minutes of a live stream and even a few people watching. Yeah, but vertical, maybe another day. I still need to get comfortable with just streaming into the vault with no actual people around me.
I think that's the problem with some of these platforms, is that it does require this stream key unless you're using Restream and there's an API for it. But a lot of the time you have to faff around, for want of a better term, with the stream keys, and they do change unless you create a persistent one, which is not always the best thing as well. So I wish all these streaming platforms, one, would have an API, and two, would just be integrated with something that you didn't have to mess around with, and it's still a bit of a pain. And any thoughts, guys, on the fact that Facebook is now removing videos or previously live videos after 30 days? I don't know if that affects anybody here too much. I know, Alec, you don't really sort of do a lot now on Facebook, if at all, because it's your sort of ecosystem is Kajabi and YouTube prominently where you put your stuff. But I'm just wondering if how many people is that going to affect? Because I know a lot of people do use groups and they do live streaming to it and so on. So yeah, I don't know what Facebook is thinking. Maybe they're trying to push everybody to Instagram as the sort of video platform, even though it was a photographic platform many years ago. So times are changing, I think, but who knows with Meta?
Exactly.
It seems like an odd decision.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to flick between scenes here because we're heading towards the end, and I want to say thanks to Saeed for joining us. I'm going to make you disappear now. See you in a bit. Thank you. And what I wanted to do here was just flick over to let Fuljens know, tell us what he's been doing recently and what he's going to be doing in the next few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. So this past week, we launched Ecamm Foundations with Adrian Salisbury on the Ecamm Live YouTube channel. You could check out the replay, which is awesome because I love when we cater this to mostly beginners, Ecamm beginner users, and experienced people. Because when you join these type of broadcasts, even if you're experienced, there's something that you will pick up along the way as well that you didn't know. Just like today, before we went live, we all discovered features, or we're talking about features that we didn't know existed or we didn't know about. So that goes for everyone. It was great. Tons of questions from the Ecamm Live community. That was on the YouTube channel on day one, and then day two we were actually in the Zoom room, being more hands-on, and being able to like take live questions from the audience and being able to like troubleshoot or things in real time. That was excellent. So it's a perfect lead into Ecamm Live Academy, which is actually going to be live in 10 days from now. So if anyone is interested in joining Ecamm Live Academy, check out ecammliveacademy.com to register for that. So that's going to be great. I'm definitely looking forward to that. I love being a part of the Ecamm Live Academy community. I love contributing to Ecamm Live Academy. When I first started Ecamm, or when I was looking around, to transition from what I was using or was shopping around for different softwares like OBS and I think it was mainly OBS and just Zoom by itself. And I was going across YouTube videos. Of course, I came across Doc because I had Sony cameras. But what got me sold into just buy Ecamm on the spot was Adrian Salisbury. I came across his video. He was here, just smiling and just like showing me how easily you could just add an overlay to Ecamm and put your branding. I was just sold right then and there, and it's just been a blessing ever since to work with Adrian. So if you're interested again, in 10 days, ecammliveacademy.com.
So that was another one of those weird transitions, but I can't get melted.
the
I was
slow
waiting to see what's
reveal.
happening. It's
Who's
like a big
behind the
vault
door?
door.
Right.
Like a
What's
big vault door. All
happening?
this gold just falls out of something.
You need a sound effect, Mario, like a when it
There's
opens.
another, look out for text as well. It does weird things with text. It sort of suddenly morphs the letters round, and you might get a rude word appearing accidentally from your title or something.
You're not
Yeah,
trying
just-
to sell
just-
this product, are you, by any chance, Martin? Because it's not, I'm not sold on it right now. I think it needs a little bit of work.
Sort of, they need to morph together the words Martin and morph, but I don't know what that would be. But
Morphin.
Morphin.
yeah, something. There's a Martian. I don't know. There's something in there. But yeah, just to add to Fuljens' underlining of Adrian, it was Adrian that I first did the academy stuff with. So certainly, if you're doing that cohort approach, that's great. Alec has also got a massively wonderful cohort program plus free content for Ecamm Live Learning if your preferred method is to sit and look at videos. So yeah, horses for courses. Also, Neil's done a set of intros to Ecamm Live as well, so there's a lot of
Everybody's
stuff out there.
had a dabble with. There's
have.
plenty of content, and that's what always surprises me with the Ecamm fan. Right? It's like I can't find how to do this. Well, there's only 250,000 videos out there to choose from. And I guess I think we spoke about this before, but real quick, I think people just generally just want the answer, right? They just want to get in, get out, and post a question. Please tell me the answer, then I can just get on with my day. Which is nice, but I think there's so much content out there now available for Ecamm and other products. It's just a matter of finding it. But yeah, there's a wealth of information here. And I learned a lot from Alec watching his videos when he originally started with Take One Tech and Ecamm. And I remember joining one of your shows originally, Alec, when you put the link out there. I did not know what was going on, because what was very confusing for somebody who's never been a guest on a live show before is I wasn't aware of that 15-second delay. So right. I'm there like a rabbit, like this, and Alec is going, "Hi Neil, how's it going?" I'm like, "But I don't see your lips moving on the screen because I'm watching the YouTube video and it's 15 seconds before." It's like he's speaking to me from the future. I just didn't understand what was going on. So it is a bit daunting and a bit difficult when you first get on there. So the rule is, turn off YouTube, don't watch it, and you just focus on here as we're talking now. So you live and learn, right?
Yeah. Great point.
Yeah, so very, very weird.
So I think we've probably gone almost as far as we can with vertical at the moment, but because Neil and I get a chance to talk about what we're going to be doing next as well, I thought I would bring up this link here. This is my company page now on LinkedIn, which I'm having to backwards engineer from everything that was on there to remove it all out and then put in content with relating to what I'm doing now, which is all of this video content type stuff. So anybody who's watching and is connected to me on LinkedIn, if you can go to my company page and subscribe to the company page, i.e. follow the company page, that would be great, because I need 150 followers on the company page before I can go live to LinkedIn on the company page. So at the moment I've got 5,000 followers on my personal page. None of them are interested in what I'm doing now. They're all interested in my previous business for live events. So that's what they were doing. So now each time I go live, I'm going to be saying, could you go to this company page? Because I need to get my number up to 150 before I can go live and then demonstrate the capabilities or the differences between personal pages and company pages to everybody else. So that brings me on to another question, and this is one for both Alex and Fuljens, because they are two of the best in the business at demonstrating Ecamm Live. If you were demonstrating Ecamm Live and how to use vertical mode, how would you demonstrate it? Because as soon as you go into Ecamm's live demo mode, it's going to look like a tiny little ribbon down the center of the screen. So how would you teach people to use Ecamm in vertical?
So you mean creating a vertical video itself, or you mean teach people how to do vertical video in Ecamm?
Mm-hmm. So
I think he means sorry. So if you're in a widescreen format, Martin, and you want to show people how to do vertical, but keep the vertical format, or are you talking about if you're in vertical format and you go to
You just have a monitor that is in vertical format, like I've got there, and then you do the demo on that, and then the live demo mode would also be in vertical. That's how I would do that. So I had Ecamm before we could go live to Instagram and TikTok. I was using the what do they call it, YOLO InStream, which was a vertical streaming third-party device. But what I did was I still used Ecamm in vertical format, and then took the output to the vertical monitor. And then I split that and took that into the InStream. So it's still giving me a vertical output from that. I was basically sending the output to that. But the live demo mode would totally work in that format as well.
Well, you could also use two computers, I guess, as well, right? You could use two computers. If you really wanted to show the vertical format, use a second computer, record the screen.
Yeah, but I think so. If what you're saying, Martin, is you want to show like all the panels as well, like all the utility windows. Sorry to use the correct term there. If you want to show like as in go into live demo mode, but it appear vertically, then yeah, if you were to do that on a vertical monitor, then the live demo mode would be in the correct aspect ratio, and then you could have like the Ecamm window at the top and the other windows around there to be able to show off like everything that's on the screen.
Yeah. What I've done in the past is I would have my MacBook separate, and I'll just bring that as a camera source into my main Ecamm, and not go into demo mode. Just basically show that entire monitor full screen, so they can see the panels. They can see me switching to vertical. I can show them how to switch to a vertical profile because I'm not live on that Ecamm. So that gives all the flexibility right there. I found that to be the easiest.
Yeah. That's
think-
great. So
I
Martin,
think
you
I
have to
can-
buy yourself a vertical monitor now, a camera that will go into vertical mode, a vertical roadcaster. If you make one, I'm just
Vertical
kidding.
roadcaster.
Only-
All this gear.
Well, Chris
Done.
is saying done, and we've done it. We've hit the hour, and we've talked a lot, and we'll
I think he
repurpose
was
the
talking
content.
about your LinkedIn page, by the way, rather
Oh,
than
yeah.
just,
We're all following.
Oh yeah, you
now
got 50
on-
followers now.
We're all,
yeah.
Well,
I've
50.
just followed it as well.
excellent. That's six more than I had before I started the show. So
There
thank you,
you
Chris,
go.
and thanks to everybody else who's just followed. And we'll get to 150 shortly, and be going live on company pages before we know it. But
Great.
thanks very much for joining us today, guys. It's been great to see you. We're going to do a 1-minute outro, and that will be us done. And we'll see you in the green screen room. That was a slip of the tongue. Oh, hang on.
That's what it's
Well,
called
should-
now. Green screen.
Yeah, we've
hang on,
changed
hang on, hang on. Yes, it's the green screen room, and I am on. With that, cheerio from Edinburgh. Neil, you get to say
Here from Portugal. We'll see you soon.
Alec.
Bye from Thailand.
Peace from
And-
NY.
See you later.